Somebody who has the opportunity to interview a lot of very famous people. In fact, he's famous for being that person. John Cowan joining me on the program. John, kia ora, good morning. Thanks for your time today. Oh, there we go. You can hear me. You can hear me now, John.
I can hear you now. I can hear you now. All those buttons in front of you. I don't know how you get them right.
It's like a 747, isn't it? No, I was just giving you a compliment, and you missed the whole lot. But I did. One thing which I did think was delightful is you giving me hand signals over Zoom that you couldn't hear me, just in case I couldn't hear you, which is absolutely fair enough. Nice to have you on the program. Is what
always
I was saying,
a pleasure.
and there was a lot more complimentary stuff, which I won't repeat now. You missed it. Wanting to talk today, though, about how to stop your brain from shrinking. Is this an actual thing? I know. According to Roald Dahl, the dreaded shrinks is a genuine medical condition, but brain shrinkage—that's a thing as well, right?
Oh, yeah. Older male brain shrinkage is a wonderful excuse that I use whenever I can't find anything or do anything. So if I'm wandering around the supermarket trying to find something, I'll sometimes say to an assistant, sorry, I've got older male shelf blindness. And they're amazingly accommodating when you sort of do that. But honestly, if I can't remember a name or an address or something like that, there's a little fizz in my brain that goes, is this the onset of Alzheimer's?
Yeah.
And my wife, what's her name, consoles me with the fact that I've always been like that, though. I've been sort of like the absent-minded professor without the professor part.
Yeah.
And so it's possibly getting worse. I don't know. But in my age, you do think about that. And so if I can avoid dementia, I would, because it can be pretty awful, even more so for the people that have to care for the person with the brain that's failing.
Yeah.
So I've heard various strategies, and of course it's those same old boring ones of manage your weight, your blood pressure, your blood sugars,
only eat boring food.
Alcohol. Yeah. But there's also interesting ones like eating oily fish.
Okay.
So there you go. Those cans of tuna, they might help.
Yeah.
Being active, being physically active and also socially active.
Yeah.
Doing puzzles. One interesting one that I've heard is that wearing hearing aids keeps your brain circuits working better.
Okay.
So that could be right. But actually, what I really wanted to talk about this morning was another problem affecting people my age. And by the way, my age is sort of middling old, later 60s.
Yeah.
One thing that does affect people my age is becoming an old person.
Mm-hmm.
And by that, I mean acting and thinking in a creaky, dull, half-dead already sort of a way. And I'd like to suggest some strategies to avoid that.
Isn't part of the problem, though, John, that we don't recognise the fact that we're an older person? We still think we're in our 20s.
Okay.
That we just need to wake up and smell the fish oil?
That's it. I mean, I suppose the indications that you are becoming old will subtly come from the amount of noise you make as you're trying to get up from a sofa.
Oh, yes.
But
true.
I'm actually talking about some things that maybe we should be recognizing them in ourselves. And I think as I go through my little list, maybe I'm inviting some self-examination to here, because these things are reversible.
Okay.
As opposed to some dementias and things. I think the things I am going to say can be amended. And these are ways to help you avoiding becoming a grumpy, old, narrow-minded, sour, old person. And the first thing I'm going to suggest is stay in contact with young people.
Okay.
And do this through just the people that you tend to talk to at church, the activities that you do, your interactions you have with people if you're still working or shopping or whatever. Listen, ask their opinions, and sit on your own opinions. And support and encourage them if you can.
Okay.
Even if you don't understand their lifestyle or their tastes or the choices they're making. If they say they're wanting to become a hip-hop artist and you don't really even know what that means, just cheer them on and ask them questions and things. And if you are still involved in some type of capacity in a church or an organization or a workplace or something, with the younger people, think friend not boss.
Yeah.
Especially not a boss that's deserving of respect and authority just because you've been sitting on the turf the longest. And because if you're a good friend to these young people, you might end up something even better than a boss, and that's being a mentor.
Okay.
And the best way of doing that is just going and listening, as we've talked about before. The next thing I'd like to suggest to keep yourself young is think community-wide and not just your own niche.
Mm-hmm.
When all your friends are like you, the same age, social status, race, religion, politics, and tastes, beware.
Mm-hmm.
It's natural that you'll gravitate to people that are like you in those ways, but it stunts your appreciation of the beautiful diversity of humanity all around us. And especially if you start to try and use your influence to only benefit people like you.
Okay.
And that is, I'm sorry to say, it's silly and it's selfish.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Shall I carry on?
No,
or am I just an old person rabbiting on and boring you young types?
No, I'll take that as a compliment. No, I think this is very good. It does sound a little bit exhausting, though. It's so much easier to just have friends that are people like you and who have the same opinions about everything. This is a little bit challenging. This is stretching the grey matter, but I suppose that's the idea, isn't it?
I think that's part of the process.
Yeah.
It won't be as comfortable, probably. Yep. It's much better just to settle back with your old ways, with your old friends, and say the same old things, and probably even tell the same old jokes. But I'm thinking if you're wanting to, that is, sliding into being an old person. And I don't want to sound derogatory for aged people, but there are some people that just have an old attitude.
Mm-hmm.
And so the next thing I want to think is abandon your old ways are best attitudes.
Okay.
And look, I'm doing this on the basis of scriptural authority. Ecclesiastes 7:10 says, do not say, why were the former days better than these? For it is not from wisdom that you ask this. I mean, so even then people are always saying, oh, back in the good old days, we used to do things like this and it was much better.
Yeah.
I doubt if this has ever been true. You certainly didn't believe it about the older generation when you were growing up, so don't expect youngsters to believe it now when you start carping on about
They didn't believe Solomon. Yeah. And he was the wisest man ever. Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, I'm a little bit concerned about this next one, John, because point D, get advice on how to dress. Is this when you get to the stage where you need somebody to help you with your adult diaper, or what are we talking here?
No, I'm just talking. I mean, if you've noticed that your belt line is now up just underneath your your upper chest,
yes,
and that your shirts and things are older than some of your grandchildren, then I think you'll have a lot of fun asking some younger person in your family to assist you in choosing clothes, dressing styling, and getting a bit of a. Look, I could go on at some length about how I have been greatly assisted by a young woman that takes me shopping for my clothes.
Wow!
And I've never ever had people go, "Oh wow!" before when I walk into somewhere with clothes on. It's good. I mean, you used to take a pride in the way that you dressed back in the 1970s. Well, guess what? Fashions may have changed a little bit.
You're commenting on my shirts, aren't you? I know you are.
Oh, you've got wonderful shirts, yeah. But I mean, if you're still wearing those fantastic trousers that you bought back in 1982 that you had to take 3 paces before they started to move, times have moved on. And look, this will just help you feel better and people respond to you differently.
Take someone shopping with you, I think, is very good advice. And honestly,
I just threw that in.
You can get young people to buy into this if you say, hey, let's go shopping, I'm paying.
Yes.
You choose some stuff for me and pick something out for yourself. Bringing out the credit card always encourages people to be able to give unsolicited, well, even solicited advice in this regard.
That's right. I mean, I think, by the way, it'll greatly enhance your relationship with young people if you ask their advice and take it seriously. Yeah. I mean, you don't have to buy everything. I mean, if your granddaughter is suggesting you look good in a sort of a metallic silver micro mini and you don't really think that that would suit you, maybe
I'd rock
you don't
that,
have to
John.
wear that.
You know I'd rock that. I'm not wearing a hoodie, though. You're not going to make me.
Hey, more seriously, I reckon one of the key ones to keeping your brain young is stay curious.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing defines decrepitude more than a shrinking circle of interests. Keep learning new stuff, asking questions, and keeping your attitude supple. And perhaps finally, don't get grumpy. I mean, I get so sick of people my age when I hear them grizzling on Facebook or on talkback radio and things like that. I think, my colleagues, my peers. If you find yourself writing sour comments on your local area Facebook page or agreeing too much with talkback and scowl at the way that people park their cars or ride scooters on the footpath or moan about the fact that young people have always got earbuds in their ears or staring at their phones, oh dear, you're becoming a grumpy old person. You're living in a world with bigger issues and bigger problems, and also living in a world full of lovely people living life in a different way from you. And you would find life so much more enjoyable if you just started appreciating them more. So my final advice is learn how to shrug. Shrug a few things a few times at these things that annoy you a little bit, and then go into the bathroom and stare at the mirror and practice how to smile. You may have forgotten how to do it.
Very good advice indeed. So the shirt that you're wearing today, did somebody pick that out for you, or did you dress yourself today, John?
I think it was given to me.
Oh, look at
and
that.
It's got a wonderful tong on it.
Yeah, no, it's a good choice. And
Yeah.
hey, if it was given to you, then that's the best price as well. Always appreciate
That's right. I pulled off my soup-stained pajamas and pulled on a shirt just so I could talk to you.
John, always a pleasure to chat with you. Thanks for being on the program today.
Cheers.